Welcome into this very special video. There are hundreds of different mechanics in Planetside 2, many of which people just are not aware of. In these series of videos I intend on bringing to light a bunch of tips which will help you a bunch. So let's get right into it. You can basically wait a few extra minutes and replenish nanites back way faster than normal. So say at the end of an alert you have 0 nanites. If you basically sit there and wait 1 or 2 minutes, you're going to get all of your 750 nanites back way faster than normal. Likewise, when an alert does end, if you've got boosts on, it does actually give you more sats. At least it used to, and I'm pretty sure that's still the case. And that also includes member XP events. At the end of each month, if you remember, you get double XP, and likewise any general double XP events, or even if you're in a squad with squad boosts and the alert ends, again you get more sats as a reward. Or if you're in an outfit and you want to craft expedition resources, you can technically craft multiple at once if you're super quick. This has been a bug for about 1.5 years now. I think the devs are aware of it and they simply just don't care, so go ahead and use this trick if you want to. In our outfit, to be honest, we have all the resources we need, but yeah, for you maybe it's useful. Another fun little tip is if your harasser or whatever is stuck, oftentimes you can place grenades or you can place ammo packs on top of the wheels, and essentially sometimes it will like unstick it, especially if you've got someone trying to drive at the same time as doing this. It's a weird collision thing, and yeah, it might help. Speaking of vehicles here, you can also use turrets, hard light barriers as a ramp to help you climb into certain areas. So for example, on Sierra Listening Post, if you spawn in the main tower and you want to get to the next building that's connected, there's like a wall that connects the two. If you place a turret on top of that wall, you can then jump up to the next building. Again, so turrets and hardlight barriers can help you jump up to areas that you can't normally get to, and likewise the same for vehicles. You can use these objects to help your vehicle across terrain that you may otherwise not be able to. Now, you may not also know that there are bridges that you can use, like there's an infantry floor and a vehicle floor. So normally people only use the vehicle floor because that's the only thing they think exists. But for example, between the Crown and TI alloys, there's a bridge that you can basically walk underneath of, and there's like an infantry layer there. Super cool, and there's a few different bridges like that, so something fun to use if you want to. Now apparently as well, a gate shield diffuser protects you from ramming damage, and Gate Shield Diffuser also makes you immune to fall damage. And of course that means you can drop from really high areas, for example the Indar cliffs on the bottom right warp gate. Yeah, you can just jump down those with Gate Shield Diffuser without having to worry about fall damage. It's great. One little tip that I use all the time that's been so useful to me personally throughout the years is you can hack vehicle terminals through walls, and likewise equipment terminals as well. This is super useful because sometimes like the vehicle terminal will be inside of the base, again through a massive wall that you have to run around and run through enemies, but instead you can just hack the vehicle terminal and just pull a vehicle without having to put yourself as much risk. But it goes a bit farther than that as well, because on normal vehicle terminals on a lot of these bases, you can, instead of standing right next to the vehicle terminal, you can stand on the other side of the barrier and maybe crouch, and the enemy won't even be able to see you hacking it, which to be honest, it's just super useful. To be honest, this is probably one of the most useful tips that I can give you, and it's certainly something you'll see use out of. Another little tip here that you'll see a lot of use out of if you don't already know it, is you can first off use facility modules from the map to make pulling vehicles less expensive. Then after that, you can pull a vehicle directly from the map. Now sometimes this will be bugged and it won't work, but the overwhelming majority of the time, if it says that you can pull a Valkyrie, you normally can. And especially during ops, or to be honest just any time, being able to pull vehicles from the map, it just makes things so much faster. It's absurdly useful as a tip. Again, something you'll probably use, 4 to 5 times each session once you get used to spawning vehicles from the map directly. Now this has a little extra tip within it that a lot of people I don't see used, even salty vets that are super skilled at the game. Nobody really uses this tip, but basically, instead of spawning at the base normally, pull a flash from the vehicle terminal from the map screen and you can basically have way better positioning than anyone else, and also leave the spawn room safer sometimes. Because sometimes the enemy just doesn't hack the vehicle terminal, so yeah, you can just pull a vehicle and have great positioning right off the bat. Super useful tip. Now this tip sometimes will be a little bit useful. I don't know if you guys remember, but on Amerish there's a few, I think there's 2 bases where you can essentially like drive over a bridge, but you have to own the bridge in order to drive over it, otherwise you won't be able to. But if you have Gate Shield Diffuser enabled, you actually can drive over the bridge even if it's not owned by your faction. Funnily enough, if you activate this Gate Shield Diffuser and you own the bridge, you actually do fall through, which is a bit of a weird bug, but something you would expect from Planetside, I guess. Another little tip which can be super useful is you can basically pull vehicles. Say for example on amp stations, you want to capture the amp station, but you don't want to overload the generators because it's too difficult, it takes too much time, it's annoying. Instead what you can do is you can pull a Gate Shield Diffuser vehicle, maybe via an anvil, so you can use a harasser or a flash, and you can just put it on the inside of the amp station with Gate Shield Diffuser. And then once you and the vehicle are inside of the amp station, you can park it right next to the shield and let anyone be able to enter the vehicle, and then they can exit the vehicle again and be inside of the amp station. That's so useful because you can essentially get like 20-30 people inside of an amp station without hacking the generators, saving you 2 minutes. It's just so useful to do. This isn't as applicable anymore, but with routers this used to be even more overpowered. Oftentimes we could backcap 96 player Zargs and even capture the amp station with this trick if you had routers. Not as possible right now anymore, but it was something fun we used to really enjoy doing. It's something we were well known for. We had like sometimes during ops we'd have like 5 router players at once. It was absurdly strong. It needed a nerf, although of course the devs could have given a bit less of a nerf than they did, because now we haven't used it once since it's been nerfed because it's just in such a bad place. But I guess that's part of the course of the devs to take something that's a bit too strong and just entirely make it useless, rather than balance it via a balance patch and make it somewhat useful or situationally useful, or sometimes good. And that could have been super simple to do by just tying it to only being used by 1 platoon or 1 squad, or you can only use it once, or you can only use 1 router every 10 minutes or something. Plenty of ways to nerf router without making it entirely annoying and frustrating to use. Apologies for that little rant there. Make sure you're subscribed if you're not subscribed already, because it helps so much. Feel free to leave your own tips in the comment section, because then I'll put the tips in the next video. I hope you all have a wonderful week. We do ops on Monday, Wednesday, Friday and Saturday on a Discord. Feel free to join. I'm out. GG. Bye bye.